Absolute nonsense. At a rate of 1,000 jars per day, shifting 863,000 would require some 863 days, nearly 2.5 years. Even the High Grove holds just 165 inches inventory for their
The Montecito kitchen isn't just humming with expensive appliances these days, it's echoing with disbelief. Across lifestyle branding circles, whispers have turned into outright laughter as new revelations tear apart what may be one of the most exaggerated sales narratives ever attached to a celebrity venture. Meghan Markle, through her rebranded lifestyle company as Ever, formerly promoted as American Riviera Orchard, has reportedly been telling associates that her fruit spreads moved nearly 1 million units. Yes, nearly 1 million jars of jam, preserves, and assorted spreads allegedly flew off the shelves. But here's where the story unravels. A brief technical glitch on the As Ever website exposed internal inventory data, revealing figures that tell a drastically different story. Instead of empty warehouses and backorders, the numbers showed tens of thousands of units still sitting unsold. Around 137,000 jars of fruit spreads alone appeared to remain in stock. The immediate response from Sussex-linked sources was swift and extraordinary. They insisted this massive inventory wasn't proof of weak demand, but merely the leftover remainder from an original production run of 1 million jars. That explanation has left business analysts stunned. Experts across branding, retail, and supply chain management describe the claim as one of the most transparent attempts at narrative rescue they've seen in years. Because if true, the implications aren't impressive, they're alarming. Let's pause on the scale of what's being suggested. Selling roughly 863,000 jars would place As Ever among genuine powerhouses in the premium food space, competing with brands that spent decades building trust, infrastructure, and distribution networks. Yet no major business outlet has celebrated this supposed triumph. No glowing Forbes features. No Bloomberg deep dives. No flood of celebrity endorsements beyond carefully seeded influencer drops. The millions sold narrative surfaced only after online sleuths noticed the inventory glitch. Brand watchers say the timing couldn't be more revealing. Just as questions intensified over slow-moving products like flour sprinkles and baking mixes, suddenly the world was told Meghan had been quietly sitting on a jam empire all along. Some insiders believe the confusion traces back to Meghan's own words in a past Bloomberg interview, where she mentioned ordering 1 million jars and lids in anticipation of demand. Somewhere along the way, ordering appears to have been quietly reframed as selling. Then came the moment that turned skepticism into outright demolition. During a casual Instagram live session, Gwyneth Paltrow, founder of Goop and one of the most experienced figures in lifestyle branding, was answering fan questions when a comment appeared referencing Meghan's alleged million-unit jam success. The question was simple. Meghan said she sold 1 million jars. As someone with your own brand, what do you think? Gwyneth's response was immediate. Absolute nonsense. Her tone carried disbelief, not drama. Then she calmly dismantled the claim with basic arithmetic. Selling 863,000 jars at a rate of 1,000 per day would take nearly 863 days, over 2.5 years. And then came the comparison that landed like a precision strike. Even High Grove, King Charles's long-established organic preserve line, keeps only about 165 jars in inventory. The implication was unmistakable. This wasn't gossip. It was a reality check delivered by someone who understands manufacturing, distribution, and consumer behavior at scale. High Grove, beloved and genuinely small batch, doesn't pretend to move millions. Neither does Goop. Gwyneth's words didn't feel like shade. They felt like professional disbelief. Industry insiders say her reaction appeared spontaneous, but the effect was devastating. It crystallized doubts that had been quietly circulating for months. Why would a seasoned entrepreneur publicly call a claim nonsense unless the math simply didn't work? To understand how badly the narrative fractured, we have to return to that website glitch. For a brief moment, raw inventory figures were visible, around 137,435 units of fruit spreads still in stock, with similarly high numbers for other products. This was not the sold out in minutes story previously circulated through friendly media during staggered launches. Instead, it suggested warehouses full of unsold goods. Online communities reacted instantly. Screenshots spread rapidly, and analysts pointed out the obvious contradiction. Authentic luxury food brands don't leave tens of thousands of units sitting idle. True bestsellers clear limited stock quickly and create waitlists, not endless availability. Highgrove Strawberry Preserve, for example, maintains inventory in the low hundreds precisely because it prioritizes freshness and genuine demand. The backlash escalated fast. First came a soft deflection through People magazine, claiming visible stock meant the company was doing extremely well. Then came the more aggressive pivot. Sources briefed The Sun, insisting the remaining jars were simply leftovers from an original 1 million unit order. This explanation raised more questions than it answered. Ordering 1 million units of perishable preserves for a brand still navigating trademark issues, rebranding confusion, and untested demand defies every principle of responsible entrepreneurship. The logistics alone, storage, spoilage risk, upfront costs, are staggering. Critics highlighted the irony, marketing an artisanal, homemade image while allegedly committing to industrial-scale production. And again, the timing betrayed panic. If sales had truly been historic, why wait until after public embarrassment to reveal them? Why not proactively celebrate verified success? The math only deepens the problem. To move 863,000 jars since the phased rollout, beginning in April 2025 and extending into early 2026, would require selling roughly 1,300 units every single day without pause. That's nearly impossible for a premium direct-to-consumer food brand with no major retail distribution, modest web traffic, and limited repeat customers. Industry benchmarks show conversion rates of 1 to 3%. Applying those figures to as Ever's publicly observable traffic yields sales in the low thousands, not hundreds of thousands. Meanwhile, Highgrove and Goop thrive precisely because they scale slowly, test demand, and respect production limits. The contrast couldn't be starker. What emerges is a recurring pattern critics say defines the Sussex commercial approach. Whenever reality falls short, 1 million appears as the magic number. $1 million speaking fees. $1 million influencer rates. $1 million salaries. Million-unit jam sales. Each claim inflates expectations, then collapses under scrutiny. Sources close to as Ever now appear to be in full damage control mode, leaking nearly identical talking points to multiple outlets. The repetition is striking. If success were real, transparency would be effortless. Instead, silence preceded exposure. Observers note this mirrors previous episodes. Hype builds, data intrudes, and defensive spin follows, often framing critics as ignorant or malicious rather than addressing the numbers. From a financial standpoint, the implications are grim. Producing 1 million jars at an estimated $3 to $5 per unit implies $3 to $5 million in upfront costs before shipping, storage, marketing, or compliance. Perishables have limited shelf lives, often 12 to 18 months, meaning unsold stock risks becoming waste. No seasoned investor would approve such overproduction without proven demand. Yet insiders describe the venture driven by belief in celebrity power rather than market fundamentals. Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop scaled cautiously. Highgrove thrives on restraint. As Ever, by contrast, appears to have bet everything on hype. The irony is sharp. The brand markets these spreads as intimate, homemade creations from Meghan's Montecito kitchen. But the scale suggests mass production. Sustainability messaging rings hollow when overstock risks landfill disposal. If genuine demand existed, social proof would be overwhelming: viral tastings, user reviews, repeat buyers. Instead, the digital footprint remains quiet beyond early influencer gifting. Potential buyers or investors, should they exist, will demand audited sales figures, warehouse data, and tax filings. Inflated claims that pass as PR puffery become serious liabilities when money is involved. What this saga ultimately reveals isn't bold entrepreneurship, It's a fundamental misreading of how markets work. Narrative control cannot replace demand. Celebrity cannot override arithmetic. As 2026 unfolds, industry chatter reflects more disbelief than admiration. What began as a lifestyle reinvention has devolved into a cautionary tale of hype colliding with reality. In the end, jam doesn't sell itself on prestige alone. Numbers don't bend to branding. And no amount of strategic leaking can move product that consumers never truly wanted. The shelves remain full. The math remains unforgiving. And the million-jar myth is now part of the record.